Okay, so hi guys. So today we'll be doing a lab for production engineering 2A. So here we'll be dealing with EOQ, economic order quantity. Okay, so your economic order quantity, your EOQ. Some may ask what is EOQ and what is the need, or what skill do they need to acquire from doing this lab. Okay, so with EOQ, you just are trying to determine or check how much of a product a company should order to meet the customer demand while minimizing also their holding cost and their ordering cost. Okay, so we just want to check that as to how much of a product a company should order to meet customer demand while minimizing what? The holding and ordering costs. Okay, so with that being said, our EOQ should reduce the ordering frequencies while avoiding your excessive stock. Because you might find that some companies they can't meet customer demand because they couldn't predict or at least figure out as to how much they order. Okay, or they have excessive stock after satisfying the customer's demand. There's a stock in inventory. Okay, so having that kind of stock will definitely increase their holding costs. Okay, so what we are trying to do there to avoid this excessive stock. Okay, to balance between the storage costs also with the processing costs, just to improve the cash flow and operational efficiency of the business. So now we're gonna construct an EOQ diagram, which is in our case we'll use a line chart just to provide you guys with or you provide a visual representation of the interconnection between the ordering, the holding, and the total inventory expenses. Okay, so our main objectives in this lab is to just make sure that we determine the EOQ point that minimizes the total cost. As I've shown you, we are going to illustrate with an arrow to show that EOQ point that will minimize the total cost. Okay, so this illustration that we're gonna do is to just help us demonstrate how multiple order quantities level affect the total organizational costs. Okay, so with that, one thing also you should know is that you doing EOQ is very much important, because you might find in a company whereby they're having these kind of issues. Okay, these kind of issues whereby they have stockouts, or maybe they have excessive stock, and then you have to apply your EOQ just to check as to the quantity that they need to order. Okay, so now you with that, uh, any of the business that deals with your physical products, they need to apply, or it is advisable that they apply this EOQ. Okay, because now ordering too much inventory, it will tie up your capital and also increase your storage cost, because now you would have excessive stock after meeting customer demand, and then you would have stock in inventory. So that on its own will tie up your capital, and also will increase your storage cost, because the more you store your products in the storage, the more you have those in storage costs. Okay, and also we can't say that now that we have seen that we have ordered more, and we had excessive excessive what do you call it, stock, we had excessive stock, sorry, then this time around let's order too little. Okay, let's order too little, because that on its own can lead to stockouts and missed sales opportunities. Okay, so if a company, they don't know what to do, maybe at first they had too much inventory left after meeting customers' demand, and then they were like, okay, now if we have this less next month, can we please, or next year to say, because it's an annual demand, next year can we please order less then? And then they order less, and then they have a stock out before meeting customers' demand. You then have to come and do this EOQ just to check, okay? That's to check as to how to improve their cash flow and operational efficiency, and how to balance between those storage costs with the processing costs. Okay, so now let's start doing that. So here we'll be using Excel. So on our learner guide, we had different quantities. So first and first, as I've told you before, that we have your demand. You'd have your demand. Okay, you'd have your demand, which in our case it was what? It was 1,000. Okay, so equals to 1,000. That's our demand. Okay, so now after having that demand, and also that this demand is per year, just note that it's a demand per year. So I can come here and say demand per year. Okay, so you see now, you see this, it doesn't show what I've written here fully. So as I've shown you, what you're gonna do is to come here on sheet. I've already edited this to rename this sheet. So it was sheet 1 before. You come here and then you right click and then you say view code, and then you come here, do this drop down from general to worksheet, and then here you type in cells dot entire column, entire column, and there's no spacing between entire and column. So entire column dot auto fit. Okay, now you are done. So from there, then you can exit this one. So as you come here, you just have to press, you see now it automatically fit what you have typed in that column. So you don't have to come here and adjust manually all these columns. You just have to do that once. Okay, you just have to insert that code, and then from there it will automatically adjust the columns according to what you have typed in those columns. Okay, so now you have 1,000 as your demand per year. We move on, then you have your ordering. You have your ordering cost. Okay, ordering cost per unit. Okay, you see as I press enter, it will adjust. So you have your ordering cost per unit. What was our ordering cost per unit? We had 20 in this case. We had 20, and then we also have our holding cost. Okay, holding cost per unit. Right. Enter, and then you come here. You have what? We had 1. Okay. So now remember, this is ordering cost per order. So we can say it's 20, and then you can okay, we'll do this after. Let's do this first. We'll do, okay, because here it won't allow us. We'll do this after the currency part. Okay, let me see. Okay. Okay. Let me check something. Okay, sorry about that. So, as I was saying, you have your holding cost per unit, and then now we move on with our guide, and then we type in our other quantities. So another thing that you have to note here, in terms of your holding cost, you might find that I don't give you a holding cost per unit as like that. But then I give you types of holding costs. It is your part of your exercise for you to get the total holding cost per unit, to sum up all those holding costs. Okay, it is part of your exercise for you to sum up all those holding costs I would have provided you with. Let's say, for instance, instead of giving you this holding cost, I give you storage cost, I give you your overheads. Okay, your overheads can be your heating, lighting, or security. And then also maybe I give you what your theft or insurance cost. Then it's for you to add those ones. Okay, let me show you. Let's say here I did not give you this, but instead I said these are your costs. Okay, instead I said this is your theft cost. Okay, and then your theft cost per unit. Okay, it's maybe 1 Rand 50. Okay, all right, what's happening? But then I think I have to use a comma. Excel doesn't recognize this point, comma. Perfect. Okay, so I give you your theft cost and also your insurance cost. Okay, insurance cost per unit. Instead of giving you this, ne, I give you that. I give you this, and I say maybe your insurance cost per unit is also but maybe this one is, let me check, it can be maybe 1 Rand, or let me say 2 Rand 40. Okay, oh, okay, it's 2 Rand 40. But then another thing here, okay, let me pin this here. You see, this is your cost. See, it's your cost, so it has to be sure that this is a cost. So I need you to represent this in terms of it has to show that it's a currency. Okay, so you would have to say these are rands. You come here under number, you come here, you do the drop down, and then you go to currency. Now it shows that it's 20 rands. Okay, it's 20 rands. And in case I want to see this to maybe one decimal place, you then have to come here and adjust that. Sorry, come here, and then you go to currency, and then you see here you would have your decimal places. This is into 2 decimal places. You can adjust to 1, and you can adjust to 0. But in this case, since you have 2 point something, you can just leave it at 2 decimal places, and then you press OK. Okay, so you also have to come here, and then you do the same. So with this one, we could have just highlighted the 2 and then said currency. You see, it shows now that this is ordering cost 20 rands. Your theft cost 1.5 1 rand 50, and then your insurance cost 2 rand 40. But then here you see I did not give you your what, your holding cost. You then have to come here and say you calculate it to say holding cost holding cost per unit. Remember, it's per unit. And then you say it's equals to what? It's equals to sum of those two. Sum of these two. There you have it. Okay, so you would use this. Now, in terms of your other quantities, you come here and you say other quantity. Okay, since here initially our total was 1, let me adjust this so that it can be 1 also. Okay, for the sake of consistency. Okay, so I can say your theft cost, maybe the per unit were about 0.2, okay, 0.75. And then this one, maybe there were, okay, let's see. Wait, there's something I did not do here besides this. Yeah, besides this one, there's something that is left. Okay, yeah, we'll fix that after the, okay. So here I can just say it's what, 0.25. Okay, now it's 1. So I can give you in this case. Remember initially I just gave you that total holding cost per unit. It's 1 rand. But then I can do that to say I give you the holding cost, and then you have to calculate the holding cost per unit, the total holding cost per unit, because you need this to do your calculations under this one. So in this column you would have your order quantity, and then you would have your ordering cost. Okay, let's start with holding costs. You have your holding costs, and then you would have your ordering cost, and then here you would have your total cost. Okay, so now in terms of these calculations, your order, we have from 50, 100, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, then 400. Okay, and now in terms of your holding cost, okay, this is where you should be familiar with your what, with your what is this, your formulas for holding cost and for ordering cost. So with that, we know that for us to calculate our holding cost, we should say our holding cost is the holding cost per unit multiplied by average inventory. And your formula for average inventory is what? Is Q divided by 2. Q, which is quantity, divided by 2. Okay? So you come here and you say my formula for holding cost is my holding cost, this the total, ne? times what? Times your average inventory, which is what? Which is Q divide by what? 2. Then you close your brackets. Okay, but then now we observe from this that we have this, and then we need to drag this one down since it's the same formula. But then we have a constant here. The only thing that is changing here is this guy, okay? But then this one, it's a constant because it applies, it's been used for calculating all these. So what we do so that this applies to all the formulas when we track down, to all the cells when we track down, is to freeze our holding cost. Freeze our holding cost since it's a constant. So you come here, you press shift, and then you press 4, which is your dollar sign. You put the dollar sign before and after. So it's before, you put your dollar sign before and after the letter of that cell that you want to freeze, okay, of your constant. So you press enter, and then that's when you can drag. You can drag up to the last one. Now we get to your ordering cost. Your ordering cost, you know that your ordering cost, the formula for that ordering cost is what? Your ordering cost, which is your CO, so it's your ordering cost per unit, okay, times demand over quantity. Your ordering cost per unit times what? Times demand over quantity. Okay, so we do that. Ordering cost per unit. Where is our ordering cost per unit? There we go. Okay, times what? Times demand. Okay, over what? Over quantity. But then also here we observe that we have two constants. Our demand is constant throughout. So you freeze your demand. Sorry, you freeze your demand. A dollar sign before and after that. And we observe that there's also another, this is our ordering cost. You freeze your ordering cost and then you come here and freeze your demand because these are the two constants that we have. Okay, then you press sign. The only changing thing here is the quantity as we go down. Okay, so that's when you can drag. Okay, since you see now it's in how many decimal places? 2, 4, 6, 7. So please put it to 2 decimal places. You come here under numbers, you decrease the decimals until just go to 0 decimal place. Okay, yeah, they are fine like this. And then you come to total cost. Okay, you come to total cost. Your total cost is equals to, oh wait, since this is like this, let's just leave them to 2 decimal places. Yeah, they'll find in 2 decimal places. Perfect. Also with this one, let's check if there were any other values. Okay, there were not. This one, they're fine. Okay, because there has to be some consistency here. 2 decimal places, 2 decimal places for all costs. So our total cost, you sum up both of them. There's no need of you saying this plus that. Just sum up, guys. Sum up these two. Even though it's going to give you the same answer. So you come here, you drag. Okay, now highlight all these, only the values, and then change from number to currency, because here we are dealing with costs. So you have to put those rands. Okay, you have to put those rands. So now we check. We want to calculate our EOQ cost. Okay, we want to calculate our EOQ cost. Now you have then to calculate your EOQ. Okay, EOQ cost. Okay, and then it's equals to the minimum value of your total cost. The minimum value of your total cost. This. Okay, now it tells us that our EOQ cost is this one, your D12. Okay, your D12. So with that, you are not done. What is your EOQ in that case? Yeah, the quantity, your EOQ. Your EOQ now is what? Not the cost, because we already calculated the cost. Is what? Since you have this, the quantity for that is what? then it's 200. Okay, but here let's do this. We're just gonna say this. Okay, you come here. If it's putting this as percentage, as the currency, just go to general, because that's our EOQ. Okay, so now you are done with the first part. Now you have to construct your graph. So constructing your graph, you then now have to select the three costs, these costs, including the headings, these three costs. And then you go to insert, charts, line chart. You choose this one, and then you say okay. Okay, but then we observe from this chart that we have our ordering cost, we have our holding cost, and we also have our total cost. Okay, we look for the intersection of ordering and holding cost. The intersection of ordering and holding cost. So that intersection is somewhere here. It's somewhere here. Let's check. Am I missing something here? Okay. Oh, this is ordering. Okay, ordering cost. Okay, now we are viewing ordering. Yeah, there is ordering cost at 100. Ordering cost at 100. Yes, there it is. Ordering cost at 100. So it's this point. So this point, since we said you see total cost at 200, that's our EOQ cost at 200. So you're gonna make a line, an illustration for here. This is your EOQ point. So for you to do that, you go to insert, and then under illustration you go to shapes. From shapes you choose an arrow, and then you come here. Okay, wait, before doing that, there's something that I wanted you guys to note. You see on our horizontal plane, what do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, and so forth. But here, that's not what is our EOQ is about. We should see our other quantities on our horizontal plane. Since we have our costs, here we should have our other quantities, because that's what we are trying to check. Other quantity at 200 supposed to be here. Since we said our EOQ cost is 200, okay? Our EO, not cost, but then EOQ, the quantity is 200. So on the horizontal plane, this has to be 200. You understand? This 200 straight, and then it turns here to do the intersection. So our EOQ point, our EOQ point, we have calculated to be the 200 rands. So it will come from here straight, and then goes to the intersection of holding and ordering straight. So here, this is our 200 of quantity, this 200 of that, because we would see this 100, which is this holding cost in blue at 100, and then this ordering cost at 100, the intersection, these 200, which is here, and then also the quantity should be here. Okay, the quantity should be on the horizontal category. So here you would insert your axis title. You come here and you say axis title. You're gonna name this to your order quantity, okay, in which is your units. You have your order quantity, okay, and now you come and label this to say this is your costs. Okay, these are your costs in rands. This is your cost in rands. Okay, now we see that we have to fix this guy. To fix this guy, you right click on the graph and then you say select data, and then you change that horizontal category. We want to see on the horizontal category, we want to see the other quantity. So you go to your table and highlight all the other quantities. Okay, highlight all the other quantities, then you press OK. Okay, then you see the other quantities. Now we look at your EOQ point. Your EOQ point, let me adjust this. Your EOQ point has to be here. So you're gonna illustrate that. You're gonna make that illustration of your EOQ point. You go to insert, illustration, shapes, arrow, and then you start from point 200. You drag down, but you see how I done it. It doesn't go to this 100. It's somewhere here, which is 80. Makes it wrong. So you need to make sure that it starts at 200, okay, and then 200 rands, and then it comes here to 100 rands, which is the intersection of this ordering and holding, and then it goes down to the 200 quantity, because that's your EOQ point. So I'm gonna delete that and then illustrate again, just to make sure that it aligns. So a better way of doing it is to just to enlarge your graph. You see, when I've enlarged my graph, that's when I can see clearly, and then do this. Look, it will tell you, and then you go down. Okay, and then you can shift it to fit that. Now it is exactly where I want it to be. Okay, then this is your EOQ point. It's your EOQ point. So that's basically what we are trying to do here. So in terms of your chat title, you also need to type in your chat title. So I can say mine is, just choose any title, come up with any title, but then make sure that it makes sense. Optimal inventory level, because that's what you are trying to get with this graph, to check the optimal inventory level. Okay, so I can say mine is optimal inventory level. Okay, so now that we are done, you see we have our range, we have our quantity, we have our point. You see, as you enlarge this, now it changes. So hi, it's gonna give us a problem. So I would advise that once it doesn't get fixed, so once you make this adjustment, just leave it like that, and then so that when I view your work, I would find this at the exact point. Okay, so now, and also make sure that the gradient of this line is okay, né? So you can come here, even if you don't come here, not the gradient, but also the how big is your line. Okay, the thickness of your line is perfect. Okay, so I can also change the type of this line to style, and then go here. Now it's bigger and also visible enough. Perfect. I can see that point. Okay, so I can change also the color to make it black. Let's treat my EOQ as black. Okay, so that's what we want you guys to construct in this case. Okay, so yeah, that's it for now. Another thing to note here, let me see, yeah, is that of I won't give you, or there are chances of me not giving you the ordering, the holding cost as total, but give you your ordering cost, and then you have to calculate your holding cost. Okay, another thing I might say, calculate your time between orders. Okay, so you would have to come here to say my time between orders, time between orders, my time between orders, and then what's your formula for time between orders? It's your EOQ over the demand. Your EOQ, but then which EOQ? Your time between orders. it is your EOQ point, your EOQ cost. Okay, your EOQ cost, that's your time between orders. So EOQ cost, and then you divide by what? By your demand. What's our demand? That. So I have my time. Wait, something is wrong here. This is not, yeah. Okay. Yeah, something is definitely wrong here. Oh, perfect. Because I'm trying to check as to how many months for that. How many months? So, yes. So, this, since I have this time between orders, remember this is, I said EOQ divided by demand, but then during my calculation, this is per, uh, how can I explain this? My demand was per year. So my time between orders, it has to be either per year or in months. Okay? The question will tell you either per year or in months, but my demand is per year. So this year is your time between orders per year. And then if I wanted it to be per month, then I would say times 12 months. Okay, then I would say equals to, so for 12 months I have that, but then this is not rents because it's time. So it is, you come here and then you change that to general. It's 2.4 months. 2.4 months, your time between orders. Okay, so take note of that also. I might tell you to calculate your time between orders. So you have to calculate that. Okay. So another thing that you should note from this is to calculate your order frequency. Okay. The frequency that you want the company to keep on ordering. So frequency, and then equals to, okay, so in terms of order frequency, if you want to check as to how often should they order, okay, then per period, okay, since we have the time between orders as 2.4 months, what you can do is to use it's just a vice versa, okay, the order frequency, you do a vice versa. So now it's your demand per year divide by what? Divide by your total EQ cost. Okay, your EOQ cost. So that's how you calculate your order frequency. See. So I'm just gonna change this from rands. Make sure you also adjust these kind of units. No? Don't leave it like as rands whereby you are required to calculate time. So 5 months. So 5 months. Okay. So we have our time between orders as 2.4 months, and we also have our order frequency as 5 months. Okay. All right. So these are the things that you might be required to calculate. So even when you have your project or something, and then a company is expressing these kind of problems, stockouts, and stockouts not being maybe customers, obviously if you have stockouts, your customers won't be satisfied. You won't be able to deliver, or you won't be able to meet the demand, okay, the set demand. And excess inventory, you would have more of your storage cost. So we have to now then come do an EOQ, come up with an EOQ, and then so that uh, the company can see the interconnection between these ordering, holding, and total cost expenses, so that they can see the point whereby the point whereby it minimizes their total costs. Okay, so now also with this, you also have to, like I said before, in in inventory management, hence is used in inventory management. It help us to reduce those ordering frequencies. You see now I've calculated my order frequency. So this EOQ will help me reduce the ordering frequency while avoiding those excessive costs. So it will it will balance your storage cost with those other or ordering costs, and also it will make sure that your company efficiency, it will improve, not it will improve your operational efficiency of the company. So now what else needs to be covered here is that, so okay, so now since I've calculated the time between orders and your order frequency, okay, another thing that you need to know in terms of order frequency and time between orders is that these two, since you've seen I've done in terms of calculation, I just did vice versa. Okay, so simply because they are inversely related metrics. Okay, so they measure the customer retention and inventory management. Okay, so if we happen to have a high order frequency, you see we have a frequency, high order frequency, which means more orders per year, then it will result in a shorter time between orders. If we have high order frequency, this will result in us having a shorter time between orders. You understand? And if you have a low frequency, then we'll have infrequent intervals, time between orders. Okay, so yeah, that's that. So with our order frequency, it's just you trying to check, you measure how often a customer buys within a certain time frame. So within a time frame, yeah, you're just checking that. Checking that. So if you find a company having you calculating their order frequency and you see that their order frequency is high, then it got to show that that company indeed it shows that there's greater loyalty. Okay, there's greater loyalty because your higher frequency will indicate the greater loyalty and also your higher lifetime value. Because now the company will be having more orders. Having more orders means that your company does have greater loyalty. Okay, so your time between orders, you're just measuring the average duration between consecutive purchases. Okay, so now yeah, that is that. Yeah, so yeah, that is that, guys. So all the best with your lab test next week, or yeah, on the, is it the 7th or 8th? Guys will be writing that. Okay, why are these changing to dollars? Because they were fine as rands. Let me check. Perfect. Now it's back to normal. Yeah. Make sure that your vertical plane or category is in rands, because we are dealing with rands. Yeah. That is that. So these are the things that I will need you guys to calculate in everything. Calculate your order frequency, time between orders, total costs, holding costs, and also your holding cost. They are holding cost per unit, and they are holding cost, okay, per those quantities. So you'll be given your holding cost, which is a constant, your demand as a constant, your ordering cost per unit as a constant, okay. So you would use that to calculate your holding cost, ordering cost, and total cost, okay. And also your holding costs, I might not give you total holding cost per unit, but give you either theft cost per unit, insurance cost per unit, and in what is the storage cost per unit, rent, or your overheads, and give you such holding costs. You'd have to sum them up to calculate your holding cost per unit, okay. And whether your time between orders, please make sure that you calculate it in months. Also with your order frequency, please calculate it in months, okay. Please do that. Don't calculate it in years. This one, how do I see that you have calculated in months? I will see here you have used your demand, which is in yearly, and then now you'd use this cost, and then you'd multiply by 12 to calculate that from how many months, your time between orders, okay. Months, make sure that it's in months, okay. So you calculate the measuring that average duration between consecutive purchases, do that in months, because I need to see that annually the time it takes to, the average duration between your consecutive costs. It's how long, okay. How long does it take for these consecutive purchases, okay. So it takes 2.4 months. So I will need to see that in months. Don't leave it in rands. And also with your order frequency, how often your customer buys, that's also leave that in months. So yeah, that's it for now for this exercise. Okay, sorry, it's not months, it's period. It's only now that I've just explained that I see. So how often does your customer buys? Periods, 5 periods. In our case, it's 5 periods. So in each and every 5 periods, that's when we have your customer buy. So yeah, that's it.